The home prices in Halifax have increased 82% since this time 5 years ago. Yes, you heard that correctly. Now, with the rapid growth we've been seeing over the last 5 years in the Halifax real estate market, there's been a lot of talk about a market crash or a housing bubble or the market was going to tank. And spoiler alert, this has not happened yet. And in fact, so far in 2024, the prices have increased since this time in 2023. And the same thing happened the year before that, and the year before that. And in fact, that's been happening every year since 1980, with the one exception being in 1995, when the price points dropped by just $470 on average. In today's video, I'm going to break down the stats year-to-date January to September, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the market and what we've been seeing on the ground level when we're working with buyers and sellers. But just before I get into it, if you're new here, my name is Andrew Stephens. I've been a realtor in Halifax for 10 years, and if you want to be educated on the Halifax real estate market, then hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you're thinking about making a move in the Halifax area and you want to get in touch with me to help you, you can reach out to me anytime in the Calendly link below. And if you're new to Halifax, or if you're thinking about making a move to Halifax, or maybe you're just a local who's looking to learn more, check out my other channel, the Halifax Insider, which talks all about things to do, places to visit, food, drink, and so on. Now, getting right into the market stats, so far this year, we've had 4,028 sales in the HRM, and this is up 7% from this time last year. Now, although this is up 7% year over year, historically speaking, this number of 4,028 sales for the first 3 quarters of the year is pretty low. Over the last 10 years, this number would be the third lowest number of sales in the first 3 quarters of any of those years. And it's also under the 10-year average of 4,598 sales per year for the first 3 quarters. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, and of course, the interest rates and the market conditions have played a huge part in this over the last few years. With the rise in interest rates, it's priced a lot of buyers out of the market, and it's also had the effect of keeping a lot of other buyers on the fence, kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with the market, as the consumer confidence was not super high as the rates were increasing. But the other aspect of this is that we haven't really had the listing inventory that we need here in Halifax. So although our listing inventory in terms of the number of homes for sale in HRM has been increasing, the problem is a lot of it is higher priced inventory, which is not what we need. We need more affordable homes. And if there's more affordable homes on the market, let's say under $500,000 or $550,000, or even under $600,000 or $650,000, this number of sales could be drastically different, as this is where the majority of the buyers are looking in our market in the HRM. Now, with all this being said, this is changing rapidly right now. As the rates are starting to come down, we're going to start seeing more and more buyer demand in the marketplace as that consumer confidence rises and as those costs of carrying are lower. And overall, this excess demand in the market is likely to have upward pressure on pricing moving forward. Now, speaking of pricing, the average home in Halifax right now is just under $577,000, which means it's up 3.5% from this time last year in 2023, which is not a huge amount of growth. Historically speaking, we average about 5.7% year over year since 1980 when you take all those years into account. But here's what it looks like over the last 5 years. And as I said in the intro, it's been incredible growth that we've seen here over the last 5 years. So again, like I said earlier, the home prices are up 3.5% in 2024. If I look back to 2022, they were up 5.7% from this time frame. From 2021, they were up 26.5%. From 2020, it was up 61%. And again, in the last 5 years, since 2019, over the same time period, we're up 82%, which is an absolutely insane number over a 5-year period for the Halifax real estate market. Moving on to market conditions, the current listing inventory is sitting right around 2.7 months, which is a seller's market, and this equates to just over 1,100 active homes for sale in the HRM. This is the highest it's been since pre-pandemic times late in the year in 2019. So this is a pretty big number, and this is basically what's driving the overall market conditions. Anything under 4 months would be considered a seller's market, which means there's more demand than supply. Anything from 4 to 6 months of listing inventory would be considered a balanced market, so the demand equals the supply. Anything above 6 months of listing inventory would be considered a buyer's market. So in this case, there is more supply than the demand that's in the marketplace. Now, for context, when I started selling real estate in 2014, the inventory was about 11 and a half months. So this is an extreme buyer's market, and it's been a seller's market in Halifax since about September of 2019. So that's a lot of numbers being thrown at you, and the real question is, what does it all mean? Well, for starters, the price points are holding strong. And truthfully, I feel like if the prices were going to go down year over year, it would have happened last year in 2023, as I believe that was sort of the low point in the market after the peak in 2022. And in fact, that was my prediction at the start of last year, was that prices were going to go down year over year for the first time since 1995. And well, as you can see here, that didn't really age well.
So that being said, I'm going to make a bit of a bold prediction surrounding price. I'm going to say that for the second time in 43 years in the Halifax region, the average price year over year is going to decrease. Now, I know that sounds scary, but hear me out.
Now, in terms of moving forward, I would suggest that the prices are likely to continue to go up. I think that as the rates come down, we're going to see more and more demand enter the marketplace and more buyers get off the fence. And as this happens, it's likely to have upward pressure on pricing. Now, I don't think we're going to see these outlandish price growths that we saw in 2020, 2021, and 2022 anytime soon. But I do think we're going to see kind of a historical value. So somewhere around that 5% year over year is where I'm thinking we're going to be. Now, the lower price points, let's say everything 600 and under, these ones are still pretty busy, pretty competitive. Anything on the higher side of things is a little bit slower and more of a buyer's market compared to the seller's market that we're seeing in the lower price ranges. So if you're looking at buying a home in the $600,000 and under range, just as an example, you're likely to face strong competition, likely to see bidding wars, likely to miss out on a few properties before you get an accepted offer on your dream home. It's just a harsh reality of the situation. It is a very difficult price range to be purchasing a home in right now. But on the same token, if you are selling one of these homes, well, you're in luck because, like I said, there's a lot of competition. You're likely to see bidding wars if you price your property properly, whatever. If you put your home on the market and it's the right price, you're likely to see multiple offers if you're pricing it just under market value or right at what we consider market value to be. And depending on what type of home you're selling and what area, this is probably in your best interest as a seller. For example, if you think your home is worth $410,000 to $415,000, you could price it at $399,000, hold offers to a specific offer date, and in theory, depending on, again, the neighborhood and the product, you're likely to see multiple offers bringing that price point up over the asking price. Now, if you're looking for a home in a more expensive price range, maybe it's say $700,000 and above, or especially $800,000 and above, depending on the neighborhood you're looking in, and of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, like the Halifax Peninsula. Generally speaking, these price points are a little bit slower than the lower ones. It's more of a buyer's market in this type of a price range, which means there's probably a little bit more room for negotiating. Again, very dependent on the actual neighborhood and the product that you're looking at. But if you're looking to buy a home in this area, you're likely to have more negotiating room, not as likely to face competing offers as well. If you're selling a home in this price range, well, it might take a little bit longer. It is what it is. Even if you price your property the right way, if you price your property properly, it still might sit on the market a little bit longer than compared to the lower price ranges. This market in general is a tough one depending on what you're trying to do, but one type of buyer and seller that this market works very well for is somebody who bought a home maybe 5 years ago, they've owned it, now they have all kinds of equity in the home, maybe they've done some renovations as well, so they have all kinds of equity, and let's say now the home they bought for $350,000 or $400,000 is now worth say $550,000 or $600,000. These types of homes are hot product right now and they're flying off the shelves, so to speak. So if you're selling a home in that price range and then trying to upsize or trying to get into a better neighborhood maybe, so you're trying to look for that kind of forever home, move from your starter home to your forever home, I would say this market right now is very, very favorable to you because you're selling in a seller's market type of price range, and then you're buying on the other end in a buyer's market. So you're getting the best of both worlds on both of those sides of that particular example in terms of what that transaction will look like. Again, if you're looking to buy or sell a home in HRM, it's going to be very dependent on the neighborhood, the price range, and what type of product you're selling. But overall, if you don't know where to start, feel free to reach out to me anytime in the Calendly link below, and we can book a seller consult or a buyer consult, and I can give you my opinion of what we're looking at and what that process will look like for you so you can start your buying or selling journey. And until next time, if you got any value out of this video, all I ask is that you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and that'll help push this out to more people like you who may be interested in being educated in the Halifax and Nova Scotia real estate markets. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and have a great day.